Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. So we got a good amount of stuff, so let's just jump right into it. So the thumbnail and title suggest we're going to talk about is cycles and how it looks like there's a little bit of an extension. Now, as you know on this channel, I've been pretty staunch and talked about that I don't believe that the 4-year cycles are over, but we're taking a look at specific cycles from the ROI from the bottom and ROI after the halving. We're in extended territory, and actually, we only have 2 days left for the next one to take over. So this is what I'm talking about. This is there's two things we're going to take a look at: the Bitcoin market cycle bottom, return on investment. So this would be like the market cycle, say like the bottom until what we might consider like a blow off top, and then we can see here there's another one, the Bitcoin return on investment after the halving. So let's just start with the bottom. Now, this one's set up a little bit differently. This is Ben's website. We take free liberties as he has allowed us to show some things to you. Now, if you want to get more into detail, there's a link in the description. You can get 10% off the first month. I got to tell you, a lot of these things are actually free on there. You can take a look at, especially the DCA tool. Anyhow, check this out. It's the Bitcoin market cycle bottom from the ROI. This first one, it only took approximately, you can see right here, 315 days. And this was from 2009, 2011. This is the very first one when things were a little bit massively erratic. And actually, excuse me, I misspoke. It was 574x you'd be up if you bought from the Genesis block pretty much. Now let's take a look at cycle 2. In cycle 2, we can see from here, let me get rid of market cycle 1 for a second. We can see here, this is 2011. This is, in my opinion, the first cycle. This is where it really counts. I mean, you can go to the very Genesis block, sure. But right here, if we go from 2011 to 2013, or we go to December 4th, 2013, it was a 539x. I want you to notice the number of days, which you can see right here, 747. So for that, again, market cycle bottom, market cycle top, you had 314 days, 316 days, 747 days. Market cycle 3, where we started over here at January 14th, 2015, because remember we had a nice big blow off top, and then it took about a year or so, and then it found its bottom. So in 2015 to a glorious time when I got in the market around November 2017, and I was there for a full month before there was a blow off top on December 16th, 2017, and that was 1,067 days. Wow, look at that. And this is where extended cycle theory comes from. You can just see this is just one of them. And you had a massive 111x. So that was the cycle that really minted the millionaires and billionaires of the cycle of Bitcoin. Now we move into where you're probably come from. Not everybody. There's a lot of people that are here that have probably been in since 2017 as well, maybe in 2012 or 13. But this one was where a lot of people got into it, which was cycle 4. In cycle 4, the bottom, because remember we had the top was 2017 in December. It took us about a year, roughly a year, almost exactly, to December 15, 2018. That was the bottom. And from the bottom to the top, that took us more days. Actually, no, it didn't. I take that back. The market cycle 4, it took 1,059 days. So it was a bit less. So this would actually come to what people were not expecting. Everybody thought, not everybody, there's a good amount of people that said extended cycles because they went from this cycle to this cycle to this cycle. And obviously the TA people, what are they going to do? Draw some nice lines and go like zip. And they're going to say, yeah, it's going to extend. And it didn't. It took a whopping 1,058 days. And your return on investment was roughly a 20x from the bottom. It was around $3,200, somewhere around there, and it went to around $67,000. So roughly about a 20x. Not bad. Congratulations. Now we're getting into this cycle, market cycle 5. And as you can see right here, we're at day 1,072. And what are we? We're 1,068. 1,070 days away from hitting that time frame. So if that's the case, we got roughly 2 days left until we go into extended cycle territory, and that's just the bottom. Now, this, of course, you can give it, give it a couple days. Might be 3 days, might be 4, might be 2. 2 is looking pretty good, but as we go into like 2 days and beyond, we are in a extended cycle. Now let's take a look at this one. The return investment after halving. And of course, going through all this stuff. Now, there are different ways we can parse out this data. There are different ways to look at the days or the amounts, quarters, and how it all is relevant to the different cycles. This is just a couple of ways that are used by a lot of different analysts to determine like if we are in an extended cycle or not. And this is the one that kind of concerns me. Bitcoin ROI after the halving. This is the big one. So if we take a look at here, the first halving ever of Bitcoin was December 12th. Genesis block 2009, 4 years later, bing, 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 2012. And from there, from the return on investment after the halving, from 2012 to 2013, it was a good 92x. Not bad. And that took how many days? 371. Cycle 2, again, you can see how this is playing out. Extended cycles, right? You went from 2016, that was the halving, because it goes 2012, 16, 20, 24. And it took 525 days, you did a 30x. Congratulations. Market cycle 3, 2020. May 11th, matter of fact. And you go from here, 525 days, and you did a 7x. Again, not too bad. We'll take it. And then as we move forward to this halving here, the halving cycle 4. So the cycle 4, that would be 2024. That was in April 21st. No, April 20th, 420, that's right. And from here, we are almost in an extended cycle as well. We're on 543 days. The last cycle took us to November 8th, and that was 546. So 544, 546. Again, you got roughly 2 days on this one. So just want to bring this to everybody's attention that, yes, if we're looking at these two parameters and these two data points, which are pretty important, I think, and we take a look at from the bottom to the top, from the halving to the top, we are going to be in extended cycles for both of them in the next 2 to 3 days or so. So let that weigh in on your analysis of what's going on, and let me know what you think about that in the comment section. So that will take care of just the data part. Let's just go over some news and see how things are going. Then we'll get into the best stuff, which is the Q&A, as we get to go over some of your questions. So first of all, tariffs. This was one of the big things that tanked the market. There's also a little bit of issues with certain exchanges that you might say, some people say it's manipulation, and some people say, well, they didn't use the right oracles, and some say that they are not doing the right procedures, and that's why it tanked. Whatever it was, the market tanked and it sucked. And one of those reasons was because then maybe people use this as a reason. Trump tweeted out that he's going to do 100% tariff because of these rare earth metals. And then this just came out a couple hours, actually no, excuse me, 11:56 a.m. So that was 6 hours ago. China accuses U.S. of deliberately causing panic over rare earth controls, which is kind of negative, I'll be honest with you. But then, just like China, to give like a little bit of a hint of hope, it says it is open to talk. So you want to be a little bit strong on one side. The other side just go, but we might be able to work this out. So the door is open. I believe that Xi Jinping and Donald Trump are going to be meeting at the end of October. I believe Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made that announcement. So things are looking like it's in the right direction for this one. Got to show a little bit of strength, but also leave the doors open. So let's hope those tariffs go through. And then also a little report, because I know we talk a lot about Bitcoin here, and I just want to make sure that people are getting a little bit of an altcoin buzz. Ethereum. I found this very interesting, which was, this is put out by Electric Capital. Top 10 ecosystems by new developers in 2025. Unique new developers. Solana is pretty close. Bitcoin And of course, there's a big issue with Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Knots. We did a video about this a couple of days ago. Go check that out. Polygon, Stack, Sui, ICP, BNB, Stellar, Aptos rounded out. But number one, by far, is Ethereum. Again, this is unique new developers. We can parse the data how it is. There's a lot of people working on Ethereum because there's a lot of layer 2 solutions and people want to work on that, it sounds like. So that is good. And just like back in the early 80s, I remember when Microsoft made their announcement, one of the chief CEOs came out and said, you just have to follow the developers. Remember that video? And he's slapping his hands and he's probably jacked up on some things. It's the 80s. And he's like, developers, developers, developers. This, I think, is one of the indicators of where things are going if you believe in the altcoin market. If you're just a Bitcoin person, hey, that's fine. But I believe there's a lot of room for layer 2s, layer 1s, ZK rollups, everything that can be done. But very few are going to make it. And just you got to figure out which ones those are. So good luck. Also, looks like there's a little upgrade coming out. Ethereum's dual advancements with Fusaka and ZK EVM pave the way for achieving 10,000 TPS on L1 and up to 10 million TPS on L2. I know people are saying, who cares? My layer 1 is 100 bazillion TPS. That's great. That's fantastic. But, you know, some people, some individuals, some corporations, some entities, they want to use a layer 2 solution, like China. We're going to take a look at in a second. They don't want to use a layer 1 solution. That's just pretty much how it is. So for these things, if you're you know, layer 1 or altcoin is super fast, that's great, fantastic. It's just going to really come down to what do the businesses want to use, what are the people going to choose. It's a free market, so we're going to find out. Speaking of layer 2s, and actually before we go on, I'm not bashing anybody. Pretty much all of these things I own, so it's not like I don't want them to win. I do. This is a good one. Ethereum's going to onboard 1.4 billion new users as Chinese Alipay launches own L2. I'm not from China. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but I've heard of Alipay. And if you have a semblance of what is going on in China, please verify what I'm saying here. This apparently is like the mega app of China, I think, or one of them. And from what I can see, I mean, 1.4 billion users. Does everybody use this in China? I think it actually is. And this is what they're doing. On October 14th, the China fintech giant behind Alipay's 1.4 billion user payment network launched Jove, or Jovi, or whatever you want to call it, a new layer 2 blockchain built atop Ethereum to move real-world assets on chain at institutional scale. And apparently, the network achieved 15,700 to 22,000 TPS. That's pretty good. It's not too bad. So, and of course, if they're on a layer 2 solution, then they can pretty much dictate what it does, who can use it, and everything else. And I think that's right up China's alley. And that's great. If they want to use it, that's fantastic. But again, the thesis for me has always been this. What is everybody building on? What are the different layer 2s, layer 3s, even if it's a layer 1? Find out that chain, invest in that chain, and move forward. So Ethereum is my other big one. Solana, BNB, and Tron, the other ones, especially if we're taking a look at stablecoins. So anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. Also, what will probably help with adoption is, I guess, Mr. Beast is going to roll out his own crypto, not his cryptocurrency or digital asset, which would be not a good idea. But what he's doing, he's filed a trademark app to offer crypto services, which I think he's seen these different exchanges and these different corporations going public. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to get on that, which is a smart move, not to make your own token or coin because it just will be a scam coin anyhow. But as far as the filing, a bunch of different things they can do, but the most striking they state are it's a crypto exchange services. That's pretty good, kind of like Peter Thiel bullish. They just went public not too long ago. So he's going to do a crypto exchange, crypto payment processing. I thought it was interesting. Financial exchange of crypto via a DEX. So you're going to have Beast DEX or something like that. So good for Mr. Beast. It's not so much that I'm like rooting for Mr. Beast and his exchange. I don't really care. What I care about is that the people that he has access to, which is millions, tens of millions, I want to say over 100 million people that he has dedicated to his channel as far as views and subscribers, they see that and they realize, okay, I trust Mr. Beast. I'm going to trust this platform. I trust crypto. That's really all I care about. So congratulations. Let's see if that works out. And finally, to wrap this up, Michael Saylor apparently has, again, this is in the realm of public opinion and marketing. I think this is really what helps us to push things. Looks like Michael Saylor just did an episode with Joe Rogan, which, you know, Joe Rogan has a pretty big reach, worked pretty well for Donald Trump to get him elected, just saying. And that's great. So we'll see if when that actually comes out and go from there. And also, I found this interesting over at Polymarket. I don't know if you guys use it. My friend Bobby does. He's a degenerate gambler. But over there at Polymarket, it's had some pretty accurate guesses. And one of the things that concerns me is the DATs, the digital asset treasuries. And when I take a look at like MicroStrategy, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine, but I just want a little bit of resolution. Polymarket's been pretty good as far as like predicting the market through the power of the people. And one of those questions was, will MicroStrategy be forced to liquidate Bitcoin holdings in 2025? 4% are saying yes. So you got 96 are saying no. Will Microsoft be margin called 25? 96 are saying no. That's pretty good. And then there was this data piece from Atlantis Liquidity where it took a look at the predictability as far as the correct percentage of what Polymarket's able to do just by the wisdom of the crowd. And you can see here that within 4 hours of resolution, it's about 95% correct. 12 hours, 90, 1 day, 89. 1 week, it's 89%. And 1 week out from the resolution of whatever they were asking, they're still 89% correct, or 1 month, 91% correct. That's pretty amazing. So I think Polymarket's one of those things that people are going to start using a heck of a lot more for prediction markets and going from there. And lastly, as we round this up, I got excited because I saw this video that Signal was integrating Bitcoin payments. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I use Signal. I like how it's encrypted and it's supposed to be very private and people can't get access to it. I don't know if that's actually true. I hope it is, but I trust no one. And I was like, this is awesome. But then when I did it on my phone, here I am trying to text Jerry Hall. And I'm like, okay, I'll do this. I'll click payments. And I'm like, what the heck is Mob? I don't have that. 100 Mob. You don't have enough Mob. Well, Mob apparently is this, mobile coin. And just to show you, just to remind you of how crazy the markets were, it had its TGE's token generation event in December 6, 2020. It went from essentially, well, $5. And then it went to $67. You know what it's worth today? 18 cents. So, oh, this is in Coinbase Ventures portfolio. Nice. So that's what is running on. I know people would say, no, it's just because you live in Puerto Rico. And that could be true because I live in Puerto Rico. It only gives me limited access to certain coins. And I give me this junk coin, mobile coin, and not Bitcoin, whatever. But that's what we have. And I thought it was going to be great, but not for me. Maybe for you. So if you use Signal, just know that you can actually transfer Bitcoin, and wish they would just stick with that. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's go into the chats and I'll answer all your questions. And we had some really good ones before we even started the show. So I'm gonna start with those first. Ask your questions away and I'll get to those in a second. Rizwan had this one. That was a good one. Can the cycle be over without any of the top indicators activating? And for that one, yes, obviously so. Let's take a look. Let's take a look back. I'm going to pull up WAS. This is coinglass.com. If you do a search on there for signals or peak signals or top signals, this is going to come up. And these are all the ones that they're top 30. You know, I use some other ones. But one of these, let's take, okay. Well, first of all, just so you know, none of these have hit yet. It's still saying 100% hold, don't sell. And as far as like the progress to them actually hitting, I don't know. Well, this one, 89.11%, Bitcoin long-term holder supply, meaning people are holding on, is almost maxed out. 81%, crypto Bitcoin bull run index, it's getting close. 87% Bitcoin trend indicator. I don't know what that is. I have to take a look at that. This one is free, but I don't know if you get access to all those indicators. Just kind of tells you if they're hitting or not. Let's take a look at Quell multiple, and let's go over here. Quell multiple. Ooh, all right. So this is all about mining profitability. Pro multiple is calculated by dividing the value of daily issuance of Bitcoin by the 365-day moving average. So really what it says is like this. As we start to get into these blow-off top ranges, like 4, 5, 6, you can see that, and this is actually a good one to look at, because you can see that in 2013, it went above this 6 level 2 times, which you would have been just fine selling at any time, right? April 2013, well, you would have done better over here. And then it hit that same thing in 2017. But what do you notice over here? In 2021, it came close, but not even. 3.25, 2.8. This was in February. Our blow off top wasn't until November. I mean, April was a pretty good month. I think we had it around 64,000, but it was November. And look at that. Very low, very low. And of course, if you can cross coordinate with these indicators, you'll see that it doesn't actually, well, let's just do this one, MVRV Z-score. Let me see. All models are wrong and some are useful, remember that. Okay, MVRV Z-score. So this one, it's market cap minus the realized cap divided by a standard deviation. Here's the market value and realized value in order to assess the market, blah, blah, blah. And then Z-score kind of like just moves out all the junk and the noise. Again, we can see here that this one, I think people were expecting a 10 or a 9 or at least an 8 for the market value versus realized value cap. Look at this one. Is this 2013? Yes, it is. 2013, it hit 10. It was way above 8, way above 8. 2017, way above 8, hit 10. And in 2021, it couldn't even get to, what was the top? And it wasn't even right. Come on. There we go. The top was 21st of February of an MVRV Z-score of 7. That's not even an 8. And February wasn't even like, I mean, it was close-ish because you'd have to wait till 2 months later to April 2021 to get to 64,000, which you've been fine just selling at that point. So to answer your question, Rizwan, is you can hit tops without hitting all the indicators. That's just pretty much how it is. You're taking a look at all indicators and just having a little bit of confluence and saying, okay, with all these, I'm going to aggregate this data and say, this looks like the best opportunity for me to take profits. I feel pretty good because this indicator, this indicator are close. These ones are closer. This one sucks, or this one doesn't work, or this one isn't hitting, but you still sell. So again, use many indicators and make your best educated guess. That's what we're all doing. Okay, November. November says, hey guys, I believe this cycle is over. Please take that perspective into account. I'm already out and placing my funds in a Tesla. What's your opinion of Tesla? I have some. Hope it as well. Elon Musk is a pretty smart, hardworking guy. I believe in that guy. I'll put my money on that. And let's see how that goes. Now, as far as the cycle's over, only time can tell. I remember in 2021 that, actually I remember in 2020 when coronavirus hit, everybody said, that's it because the supply chains are screwed up. The economy is going to collapse. It's going to be the worst thing of all time. And of course, we're going to wipe out half of the population in the planet because of this coronavirus. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was a big thing. And that didn't happen. And then what did the Fed do? They printed money like crazy. And then they cut rates. What are they doing now? Well, they're going to cut rates. They're going to start printing like crazy because they know that's the only way that they can get themselves out of this mess that they're in. And hopefully the inflation rate doesn't go too high. So November could be right, but I still think that we have a little bit of ways to go. I could be wrong, but time will tell. And then Khan says, do not trade on Binance, boycott and delete your membership, share it everyone and call Binance a thief. You're the boss. So we heard a lot about this. We talked about this today on NFA Live. And my thought process is this. I have a fatal flaw. My flaw is I believe that most people are good with some bad intentions, and not everybody is bad with just a slight good intentions. So I know people are going to say, you're a sucker. And I try to find the best in people. With Binance, I hope that wasn't the case. I'm hopeful that they just used they didn't even use an oracle. They just used their own order books and pricing to establish what the price should be. And of course, one of the examples would be Cosmos, as it went to 0.001, even though in every other exchange, it didn't even go close to that. I mean, it was down, but not, a fraction of a penny. And of course, that led to massive liquidations, not just on that one, but a ton of different cryptos. And if you just look if you go to X, and we talked about this today, and just type in Binance manipulation, you'll see just threads going like crazy. So I'm hoping they just didn't use the right procedures to accurately price these crypto, hoping. And it was just an honest mistake that screwed over a ton of people. And, they're doing a $400 million air fund, which I think is commendable. But, if you had people losing 20 billion, 40 billion, $100 billion, is 400 million going to do anything for anybody? Especially the people who lost their life savings. I saw one guy, he lost like $9 million because he put it in there and he put it on leverage. I don't know. That's why we have the rules, right? We have the rules. Rules are kind of important right there. Rule number 1, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. So you just mentally you're thinking it's all gone. So whatever I put into this exchange, it's all gone. And if I am okay with saying, okay, I put 10,000 in, it's all gone, no big deal. So I can handle that. If 20 bucks makes you sweat, you shouldn't be trading. If, that 10,000 makes you sweat, you shouldn't be investing. And everybody's different. Some people don't care about 10 million putting in there. Some people care about 20 bucks. But if you follow this first rule, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, you're fine. Next one, everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Next one, don't use exchanges unless you have to. And of course, we have to for the on and off ramp. But take it off. Like I use Kraken, but guess what I do? I take it off and I put it on a cold storage device. So if they collapse, Voyager, Celsius, FTX, I'm not left holding no bags. I got my bags. And then the fourth one is don't use leverage. It's very simple. And then take profits. Now, I don't care if you take profit or do leverage like a 2, 10, 20. I don't even care if you do 1,000x. As long as it's money you can afford to lose. If you put $1,000 in at like a 500x leverage, which is very tight margins, and you lose it, you're like, who cares? Fine. But don't put your life savings in at a 20x or even a 5x leverage. You're just asking for trouble. So to answer your question, as far as like with Binance, I hope that's not the case. Other people are saying it's manipulation, and I can see that argument as well. I'm just going to sit back and see what data flows out. Also, it looks like Binance may be facing a lawsuit. So that's not really great news for our industry, but it is what it is. There we go. All right, let's see. And Stain says, there are so many people trapped and lost, there's low probability of a God pump until they capitulate. Money can see where they are. I think that the day that we lost everything, when we had those margin calls and we had liquidations, obviously I think one of that was because of multiple exchanges were not doing the right things, and they just let these liquidations run, and that's why we had 100 billion or whatever it was. But you take that out, I think a lot of people, like if you're watching this channel, I know you're not a big trader. You're just a person who wants to stay up to date on the market, not get too much hopium, gets a little bit of a reality check, and also find out what's happening. And I think for you, if you're not trading, like for me, this didn't affect me at all. I was looked at, I'm like, well, that sucks. And I went to the beach. And that was it, because there's nothing to leverage. So like for this one, I think a lot of people that aren't traders, they're just like, And if you had some powder, you could pick up some cheap crypto. But I think what really hurt is the leverage plays, and you got to learn. And if that's what it takes, hopefully people will stop doing all that leverage with stuff that they can't lose. I've seen so many posts about people crying their eyes out because they lost everything. Sorry. That's on you. November, that's true, but nothing is seen on the top. Maybe I've run through my bags. Nah, Rizwan, we'll see. Yo, what's up? Roku has this one. Oh man, I got to show you. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but there was a thing called BitConnect. Remember that rule? Everything's a scam, Tamper or otherwise. Watch this. This is gonna take you down memory lane. And if your speaker's up high, just turn it down a couple of notches and listen to this. Oh.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, Big Connect? Whoa, what's up?
Yeah, so that guy was on there for the stage for like a couple of minutes. The people behind him knew it was a Ponzi scheme. So when you're looking at everybody, you're looking at these different projects going, this looks legitimate. And these guys look like they know what they're doing. Just remember that clip I just showed you, because all those people were fraudsters. Now, the guy that actually was doing the what's up, I don't think he knew what was going on. But he was just like, I don't know, comedy or something. I know CTO Larson had him on his show one time. If you lost on BitConnect, I'm sorry. We've all lost something. All right. Remember that guy. Remember that guy where you want to put all your money into some crazy project. Hey, let's see. That guy was cool. Pirate, these days I don't trade, at least not leveraged. See, that's pretty good. Spag says, how do you stay so lean? It's very simple. You just work out every day, and actually it's not even working out. Really, it comes down to like what you put in your body. That's it. Because people are like, hey, Rob, you're a grandfather. That's true, I am. Rob, you're old. Yes, that's also true. How do you stay lean? You don't eat anything. If you pick up a product of food and it has more than 2 ingredients, then don't eat that product. That's pretty much it. So it's always the same thing for me. It's always eggs and chicken and steak and pork rinds. I make my own salsa. And gosh, that's like the majority of what I eat every day. Bacon, lamb chops, stuff like that. I don't really eat that many vegetables, and that's pretty much it. And I drink occasionally, or else I'll lose my mind. Hey, that's it. Even his wife doesn't believe it. Yeah, Jupiter, the folks in the background, that's very true. November says, for Hoofty, I would get my money and run before crypto news and melt like a popsicle. Everything's moving up. Stocks, gold, silver. Only crypto is melting because of manipulations, accounting. There's a point to that. And of course, no, on the show, the very last rule that I guess we didn't really talk about, which we should have. The last very rule is take profits, right? So throughout this time, I've taken profits along the way. And that's why, like, I know when we're on NFA Live, Ben's always like, why do you even buy real estate? Because you can just sit on Bitcoin. I'm like, I know you can do that, but, I like to diversify. So, I diversified a little bit. I still have a very, very, very heavy bag. And I'd like to not be the top, but what if it is? I feel okay about it. I mean, I think I've kind of missed it. I think a lot of people have missed it, but only time will tell. So I guess we will see what comes in the pipe. Although, again, that really makes much sense. We are melting up. Gold and silver and all precious metals are doing great. It's like a commodity super cycle. So we'll see. Quarter 4 is we're actually just into Q4. And remember that all blow off tops, every single one, 2013, 2017, and 2021 occurred when? November, December. So if we get through November, December, and we're hitting sideways, I would be concerned. And I'll go from there. Mohammed says, I think we're finally reaching the state of helplessness that precedes big moves. True. We still can go lower, though, but before we pick up the S&P, should at least retrace 5. It's down 3%. Did not know that. Rob, can trading bots be used in any of the crypto IRA accounts like iTRUST Capital? I have to ask them that question. I'm going to take a screenshot of that and talk to Ryan about that. It's a good question. Don't buy food, buy Bitcoin. That's the trick. That's true. Eat lean foods. How do you see Bitcoin and MicroStrategy performing in November? again, I think, well, first of all, October is supposed to be Uptober. Remember that? How are we doing? Does anybody know? Let's take a look. So the average ROI per month is something to take a look at, or excuse me, monthly returns. And historically speaking, September, which is right here, year over year is the worst month, even in traditional finance. And you can see out of the years, there's only 1, 2, 3, 6 green, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10 red. So 10 a decade, it's been a red month. And then we had some good months, like even last month. Move to October, and it's the exact opposite. You can see that October, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You go, wow. It's the exact opposite. It's 11 green months, and you got 5 red. And so far, we're down 5%. And that, of course, is just for Bitcoin. Do you want me to show you altcoins? You're not going to like this. I'll tell you that. Or we can just do, I wonder if you can do that. Well, we'll do total market cap, which unfortunately includes Bitcoin. Yeah, not too bad, 6%. I think for altcoins, T3 or whatever it is, it's much, much lower. So yeah, as far as like November, historically speaking, is a pretty good month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. It's almost as good as October. And December is pretty good, especially in post-halving years. So we'll see how that works out. Although 2021 was negative 0.49, so we'll see. But again, I still say that if we're chopping sideways in December, we got problems. But I still think they should do well. Yeah, Darren says, hey, Rob, that's on Trump putting his guy in the Fed to replace Powell. Extended cycles might not be as elusive. Yeah, I mean, once Jay Powell steps down, but Jerome Powell's, I think let's take a look at Polymarket. If we take a look at Polymarket, which we talked about, again, reasonably well as far as like their predictions, 1 month, 1 week. Let's take a look at, if they have it, Fed decision in October. There it is. And the market is saying, and again, this is an end of October, so you're near 91% accurate. 94% of the people are saying we're going to have at least a 25 basis points. And then some crazies like my friend Bobby would vote for 50, but we're going to see that in end of October. I think the next one after that is December. I can't remember. So we have 2 more. We'll probably get a 25 and maybe a 25. So the next guy that comes in, he's not coming in until like April or May. So we'll see if that's enough. But I mean, how much cutting can that guy do? Down to 0, I suppose. So Darren's, he has a point. I just think that we'll go down enough, and or we'll start cutting rates, which will be enough. And of course, they're talking about no more quantitative tightening, so or taking the balance off the books. We'll see. Buy low silver. Rob, do you eat beef in PR? Yes. I get it from Supermax or Costco. I have a very big bag. Not the top until we drop below 100. Hold. Dale, take hydrogen tablets. As a matter of fact, I do. I just got those not too long ago. They're these little solvency tablets that you drop in water and they dissolve, and there's like a chemical reaction. And it's supposed to be good for, gosh, mitochondria health and reduction of cytosis or something. So I haven't taken those for a while. I haven't really seen that big of a difference. So let's see. Let's see. That was YouTube. The market burned my brains. JH says, so are we in a bear market now? Bitcoin's at 108, disgusting. Well, the definition is, a bear market is 20% reduction from whatever the all-time high was. So 20% plus the sentiment is at fear or extreme fear. So check one, check two, and then the last one is there is the sentiment moving forward is extremely bearish, and that's kind of up in the air. So if you want to say like this is a bear market, it feels like it, doesn't it? It sure does. It depends on your definition of what it is. But I will remind you, in April of 2021, we went from 64,000 for the Bitcoin price, and in 2 months we were at 29,800. We had dropped more than 50%, and people were saying, "That's it, cycle's over." Remember that? And then we bounced back and we hit 67,000. So it's anybody's guess. Stay tuned, surge. That's the way. October sucks. True. Crypto says, sorry if you've already answered this. Coming late. What's your thoughts on Coinbase and iTRUST partnership announcement? You're not being a fan of having PTSD from 3 Arrows Capital and FTX. So this announcement was a while ago. And what it was iTRUST, which is what I use for my Roth IRA and my custody, because I have iTRUST custody some of my crypto, including Bitcoin. I have them do my Roth IRA. I also have a TANGEM wallet, a couple. And I also have a Ledger wallet, a couple. Why do I do that? It's because I don't trust myself and I don't trust the people around me, and I am paranoid. So if I lose one part, I'll be okay because I have other parts scattered around. I'm not going to lose everything. I refuse to lose everything. And that's just me, being me. So the partnership between iTRUST and Coinbase is Coinbase Prime and their custodial services. This, I want to say, I don't know how long ago this was, months ago. And I looked at it like this. If Coinbase Prime goes down, there's a big hack. Lazarus Group comes in from North Korea and just obliterates them and takes all their crypto somehow. If that happens, that means that all the crypto that MicroStrategy holds, which is in Coinbase Prime, and a big chunk that BlackRock holds, which is in Coinbase Prime. So if those two get ripped off and they get hacked, I don't care so much about my Roth IRA or my custody because the entire market is going to collapse. So in that situation, I'm like, well, it's worth nothing anyhow. And that's pretty much it. So again, I don't keep all my eggs in one basket. That's just how I've felt was like the best thing for me. Now you, of course, can do whatever you want to do, but that's been around for a little bit. Unless Crypto Academy, unless there's some new partnership that I'm not aware of, let me know in the comments. Turns out October was for Bitcoin owns. Yeah, Bitcoin, I mean, the price of Bitcoin goes down, but the dominance can still go up, right? Because as the price of Bitcoin goes down 5-10%, then you get stuff like Fartcoin going down like 30%. And I'm just using it as an example. Of course, you can tell me how great Fartcoin is. It's got a catchy name, I'll tell you that. Yeah, doesn't every cycle hit this point, it's all over and I'm selling? I remember 2021 quite well, and that's pretty much how it was. And around June, everybody's like, well, that was fun, and we'll see you in 4 years. And then it just rallied back to November. 2017, I don't really remember too much because I got in around November, and it just seemed like it just kept going up. And I thought I was a genius. Serge says, this might be another cycle. The reason people struggle with that reality is their portfolio composition. Anyone who's stuck to just Bitcoin is sitting on roughly 8x gains, which is not bad. Let's be honest. An 8x gain, I'll take it. It's called full capitulation, and that's what it is. Yeah, and I think we should end up here. It's been 45 minutes. I don't want to take everybody's time too much. But it was like this morning, the first thing I tweeted out or posted was like, man, this market's down pretty bad. This is a great day to do absolutely nothing. And people were saying, hey, Rob, you got to buy the dip. You got to buy the dip. I'm like, I've bought as many dips as I can possibly buy, and I'm all dipped out. So these days, sometimes it's like Stanley Druckenmiller says, the best investors are the ones that do nothing for a very long time. I'm just not doing anything. That's it for tonight. So look, like tonight's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. I think, let's see, what is it, Thursday? So I'll see you guys tomorrow on Friday. Got to go to a little show tonight. But I appreciate you and for hanging out with me for 45 minutes. Thanks. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.